This podcast is sponsored by nobody. Hey dudes, welcome to Splat from the Past, the only 80s themed horror sci-fi show where things can get totally radical. Now today, I will be welcoming Lydia Hannibal. Lydia, you all know her as Cashier Ellen in Seth MacFarlane's Ted. But she also had a role in the So Bad It's Good cult classic Attack of the Killer Tomatoes, celebrating its 45th anniversary. She'll be my second guest from it. And I don't know what she played in that per se. IMDb in the credits incorrectly list her as the receptionist, but it wasn't her. I have an idea of who she was in Attack of the Killer Tomatoes. We're going to talk about it. She told me in DM she has like no memory of being on that set, though she knows that she was in it. She was also in a Christmas Carol TV movie remake in 1981. She guest starred on Ryan's Hope, Renegade, Picket Fences, Dave's World, stuff like that. And she's had these amazing Zelig-like moments in show business. She was a page at NBC. She studied at the Actors Conservatory Theater in San Francisco. I wonder if she knows any of my past guests that were there. And she knew Jim Henson. Lots of good stories there. And it's going to be a great talk today. This is my last recorded show before Christmas. Once again, this Sunday, Christmas Eve, December 24th, I'll be dropping my interview with Tracy Wells, who played Heather Owens on Mr. Belvedere, and she was one of Corey Feldman's classmates in Gremlins. Then, at midnight on Monday, Christmas Day, December 25th, I'll be dropping another Ask Tommy, where I answer frequently asked questions from listeners and guests. And I'll be releasing my full conversation with Karen Richmond from my anniversary show last year, because I think it's funny. And keep an eye out for all of those goodies the next few days. So yeah, here is my interview with Lydia Hannibal. Hey Lydia, welcome to the show. How are you today?
I'm fine, thank you. How are you?
I am fantastic. This is such a great honor. Thank you so much for taking the time today.
Oh, sure, no problem. I'm glad you asked me. It's exciting.
Absolutely. So, going back in time, your dad was an actor before entering the priesthood. Did he instill a love of acting in you?
Actually, yeah, he did. He was a priest, an Episcopalian priest, and at his church there were a lot of actors, directors. I grew up in the Valley, and there were plays at his church. And so, yeah, he got me my first agent and my first headshot.
So your dad had a lot of famous actors hanging around?
Yeah. Hanging around in the parish hall or the living room. Yeah.
Yeah, who were some of them?
Oh, gosh. He was good friends with Jonathan Winters.
Wow.
Yeah. And I even have a painting that he gave me when I was about 14. Yeah. So that's just one of them. But he knew a lot of people. He knew Phyllis Diller. He knew I said Jonathan Winters, Buddy Hackett. A lot of those old
comedians.
Yeah, a lot of comedians. Let's see, some of the great black actors from that time. Oh gosh, the names are just escaping me. But
Sidney Poitier.
He did know Sidney Poitier, but not friends with Sidney Poitier. But he wasn't one of the people hanging out in the parish hall or
nice
or living room.
Wow. And so you right away got into school plays and community theater and all that?
I would say community theater. The school that I went to did not have a drama department per
Mm-hmm.
se. Um, and I think growing up in my family, even though my father was very pro me, uh, getting acting classes and being a part of different acting communities in Los Angeles. I grew up a Caribbean girl,
Mm-hmm.
and all of my mom and all of my aunts are nurses, and all of my friends have become doctors and dentists and lawyers. So there's not one person
Mm-hmm.
that I could be in school plays with, because they were very conservative,
Uh-huh.
and to be in the arts was kind of airy fairy and loosey goosey and just not what you were supposed to do for a living.
Interesting. Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
You were a page at NBC?
Yes, I was.
What
Yeah.
years?
Oh gosh. I guess in the 70s, mid 70s,
Yeah.
um, to when I went off to the American Conservatory Theater in San Francisco,
Mm-hmm.
and that was in the late 70s, early 80s. But it was wonderful. I loved doing it. I loved being there. The shows that I got to see, the people that I got to meet, it was exciting for me. And people looked out for me because they knew that I was young and innocent.
Uh-huh.
And, the industry is not always like that.
Oh, yes.
And so I had people looking out for me. I worked on the Sanford and Son. I worked on the Tonight Show.
Yep.
A midnight special. I got to see Shaka Khan and all these, performers, and I answered phones backstage. I gave tours. It was incredible. I loved it.
Did you know Shelley Herman?
Yeah. Why is that name familiar?
She was there from 76 to 78, and she just wrote a book about it. It's called My Peacock Tale.
Oh, wow. I should get it. I really should get it. You know who was there?
Who?
Who was a kid that would get off the bus and come and sit with his mom or wait for his mom to get off work, was Byron Allen.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Billionaire Byron Allen. He was a little kid. I would sometimes have to watch him. I mean, he wasn't that much younger than me, really. Yeah. But if I didn't have a tour or I didn't have to answer any phone calls, I would kind of sit around and sit with him.
Yeah, at the time he was the youngest comedian to be on the Tonight Show, but he broke Alan Bursky's record.
Right. His mom, Carolyn, is a force to be reckoned with. And I even saw it back then, and I was, basically a kid. But I said, wow, this woman is like a force. And she is the one who kind of pushed him to where he is today. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, I recommend the book. I mean, God, she went through a lot while she was there. A lot of sexual harassment. McLean Stevenson tried to rape her in his office.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
And I think that's why I had protectors.
Yeah.
I think some of the people knew my father. My father was he was a wonderful priest, but he was the most unpriestly priest that you could know. And he knew people, if you get my drift. I mean, he knew people. So nobody messed with me.
Yeah.
They really didn't.
Yeah, so. I've heard stories like that, certain girls in Hollywood whose fathers were, high up there and nobody ever made an attempt. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So you attended Cal Arts?
Yeah, I went to Cal Arts,
Mm-hmm.
and I went one summer towards my going into my senior year. Uh, I saw this poster for Pacific Conservatory of the Performing Arts, and they were doing A Raisin in the Sun, and
Yeah.
Showboat. And I thought I could be in those shows, and so I auditioned, and I met my ex-husband
Mm-hmm.
there, and the director of one of the plays was also the director of the conservatory at the American Conservatory Theater in San
Yeah.
Francisco. And he said, "You're a good actor. Why don't you come on up?" And I said, "Well, I'm about to graduate." And my ex said, "Well, I'm there." He was going for his master's there. And so I left Cal Arts and went into the training program. And at the time, I mean, they would have like 50 actors at the beginning of the season in the training program. And by December, they cut that in half to about 25. And by the end of the first year, they would cut it down again. So I was able to go all the way and then get invited into the company. So that's where I got my equity card.
At Cal Arts, were you there at the same time as Paul Rubens and Lorraine Newman?
No,
Okay, I don't know what
no,
point.
I think,
I don't know at what point they were there, but they were there in the 70s.
yeah. Who was there? Oh, I can't remember who was there, but um, there were people there that have become like really famous
Mm-hmm.
before me. But it also, Cal Arts was, I needed more structure, and ACT gave me that structure.
Mm-hmm.
And when I was there, in the class before me, people like Denzel Washington, um,
That's right, he was
after
there.
me, yeah, Delroy Lindo,
Joey
Annette.
Segal?
What's that?
Was Joey Segal there?
Yes.
Yep.
Um, a lot of other people as well before me, and then during my stay there. And then when I was in the company, Annette Benning, Elizabeth Banks,
Mm-hmm.
a plethora of people.
The people I've talked to who went to the conservatory are like Lois Foraker, Donovan Scott, Tony Attell, John
Uh-huh.
DeMita.
Oh,
Um,
yeah, John DeMita, yeah.
yeah. Was Joy Carlin teaching?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yes.
I've talked to
Yeah.
her. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
I'm a San Francisco boy, so I love talking to people who did things in San Francisco.
Oh, well, let me tell you one story about
Yeah.
an ACT story. Um, when I got there, and it was my first year, and Bill Ball had this office that had glass windows looking out into the green room
Mm-hmm.
where the mailboxes were, and all the students would pass by, and he could watch us. And so I looked in after one of my classes,
Yeah.
taking a break, and there was this little man with a funny mustache. And I said, "Oh my God, who is Bill talking to?" And one of my friends, who was kind of in the know of people, said, "Oh, that's Tennessee Williams." And I said, "Tennessee Williams? Oh my God, I thought he was dead." And I said that right as the door opened, and he threw his scarf around his neck, and he said, "My dear, I've been dead for years." So anyway.
Yeah. Oh my God. It was a magical time in the Bay Area in those days, and they're coming off of doing One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest in Berkeley.
Right, right. Yeah.
Yeah. So you told me when I first DM'd you earlier this year that you have no specific memory of being in Attack of the Killer Tomatoes, but you know you were in it, right?
Yeah, but I kind of have a remembrance of being a receptionist or
Yes.
sitting at a desk and screaming. But a friend of mine recently saw it and said, I didn't see you, but I think there are a couple of different versions of it,
I
and
think
I've never seen it.
Yes, I think you were on the cutting room floor, maybe, because I watched it, and I knew who you were from Ted. That was one of the reasons why I reached out to you, not just because you were in Attack of the Killer Tomatoes, but I knew you specifically from Ted, and so that's why I reached out. And so, like, I watched the movie. There's two older white women playing receptionists in this movie, and there's one woman of color on screen for like one full minute in this movie, but it didn't look anything like you. She was very, very heavy.
So I think ended up on the cutting room floor. Like I was in the proposal, but I also ended up on the cutting room floor. So
In which one?
The proposal.
The proposal. Okay.
With Sandra Bullock.
Okay.
And Ryan Reynolds. Yeah, I watched that movie. I love that movie, and I understand why I got cut. Because it made absolutely no sense.
Yeah.
Absolutely no sense. Why I was in it. So, hey, I don't get the residuals, but I love the movie.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Attack of the Killer Tomatoes is one of those so bad that it's good, type of movies. And one of the writers of the Costa Dillon, I had him on a couple of years ago. He's a interesting, strange guy. But yeah, nevertheless, it's a good bad movie. It was shot in San Diego, and it's become a legend. It had 3 sequels. Costa told me at the time that they were working on trying to make another one, but I don't think it'll ever happen because tastes have changed, especially in B movies.
Right. I was also, I don't know. Do you know the movie Homeboy?
Homeboy, yeah, with Mickey Rourke.
Yeah, I was in that.
Yeah.
And
do you remember anything about working with Mickey Rourke specifically?
Yeah, I slapped him.
Yeah.
For real, I slapped him. I'll just put it there.
He deserved it.
He deserved it. I didn't have any scenes with Christopher Walken, but I really enjoyed talking to him. And so that was fun. That was fun. I'm trying to think. Was that the film where a lot of people got food poisoning? I can't remember if it was that or something else I did. But yeah. I'm so glad I didn't eat the salmon. But
that's awful.
Yeah. Because people went down. We came back from lunch and people went down one at a time. I went, oh my God. Oh, it's horrible. Yeah.
I interviewed an actress once. She told me she got food poisoning on the airplane from eating shrimp, and she's like, if you watch me in the scene that I'm filming, I have like my butt cheeks, squeezed in because I kept going to the bathroom every couple minutes.
Oh no! Oh my gosh, that's horrible.
Yeah.
Horrible. Yeah.
In 1981, you were in a TV movie adaptation of A Christmas Carol.
Yes.
How was that experience? Because it's very low rated on IMDb.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh! Because I thought that ended up in Washington D.C. in the Smithsonian or something. I thought it. No, it was supposed to be really good, but it's bad. No, it was a good experience. I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it. I had no bad experience at all in it. At all.
The only other actor I know in it is Ray Burke.
Oh, Ray, he's wonderful.
Yeah.
He's wonderful. Mm-hmm.
He's great at comedy.
He is absolutely. What's that?
He's great at comedy.
Oh, he is, and dramatic. He's a wonderful, wonderful actor. I would love working with him again. That would be great. He's now on the East Coast as well, so fingers crossed. Maybe, maybe. Yeah, my first love is theater.
Right.
Yeah, my first love is theater more than, I like the money that television and film gives you, but it's not as rewarding as theater. Creatively, it's not as rewarding. I know some people would say, "Oh no, being in film and television, it's quick, fast, and it's very rewarding." But not for me. I love theater. I really do.
Absolutely. When you were on the soap opera Ryan's Hope, people tell me all the time that soap operas are the hardest acting jobs because you have to memorize 50 pages of dialogue, and if you can't, if you stop, you'll get fired.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. I've done a couple of pilots, and that's brutal. I think even more than soap opera work. They could change in soap operas. They can change the scripts quickly, as well as pilots. They could change the scripts. After Ryan's Hope, and I moved to South Africa to get married, and my husband was running a theater in Johannesburg. And I worked there for a while. Then we came back. And then during pilot season, I got a few pilots to work on. And one of the shows that I worked on, I can't remember the name of it, but almost the entire production crew, producer, directors, were on Ryan's Hope. And so they hired me to be in this pilot. And I guess the person who was the lead actress on the show, by the end of the first day, they did not like her. I thought she was fine, but the network did not like her. And so they just stopped rehearsals at the end of the day. I got a call from the production director and said, "Lydia, we're not going to be, you don't have to come to rehearsal tomorrow." And I'm like, "Oh no." And I took it upon myself. I said, "Was I fired?" And he said, "Oh, no, not you. No, the lead actress." And I don't want to say her name. I mean, she's a working actress. Just, they didn't like her. And I thought, this is horrible. At least in soaps, it will take a while for them to fire you. But after the first day of a rehearsal, they could fire you like that? That was crazy to me. Absolutely crazy. So, but yeah, soap opera work, and Ryan's Hope was considered an actor's soap because everybody that was working on that soap when I arrived were theater actors who just happened to do television. But their first love and their first jobs were theater. And they worked on stage in New York, and they were wonderful, 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 wonderful actors. So,
nice.
Yeah.
You did Angel of Death with Jane Seymour and Gregory Harrison. Did you work with those two?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. I emailed Gregory Harrison 20 years ago, never knowing that in the future I was going to be an interviewer, and I asked him all these questions, and he replied me back. He was a very nice guy.
Yeah. Let's see. I don't think I've had a bad experience with anybody. You hear horror stories, but I've never been a part of that.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe once in a musical,
Mm-hmm.
but just once.
That was stage.
Yeah, that was on stage. But I have not had a bad experience except for when I slapped Mickey Rourke. And I think he was just being bad. He was just being a bad boy, so.
Yeah. Last night I watched your episode of Renegade, and you're in it.
Oh my God.
For like the first 10 minutes, you're on screen or something like that, and you're in the scene with Stephen J. Cannell. God, that must have been great, because that guy was just one of the most brilliant writers TV ever had.
And so nice. Again, so nice. I never saw the bad side of Hollywood. Never, ever. And I'm saying, except for once. And that was in New York, but I kind of don't want to get into that one.
It's okay. We don't have to get into anything negative.
Okay.
Did you at least meet Lorenzo Lamas and Kathleen Kinmon on that set?
No, I don't think I did.
Okay.
I don't think I did.
Kathleen a friend of mine and a frequent guest on the show, and
okay.
Very flirtatious woman. How about Picket Fences?
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
That, oh my God, I love that show. Did you work with Fibish Finkel?
You're asking me all these names, and I can't remember any. I just kind of go in, do the job, and if I know the people. If I really know the people, because I socialize with them or they're friends of friends, then I'll schmooze. But if not, I just kind of go in and do the work and leave.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I really don't know.
Yeah, that was the Native American Indians episode. I like that one. You did Dave's World, Harry Anderson. And wow, what a guest cast that was. Jane Curtin, Lyman Ward, Glenn Shadix, Meshack Taylor.
Jane Curtin was wonderful.
Yeah.
Wonderful. I loved working with her. I really did. Such a nice woman. Really giving and helpful and just funny. A really funny woman.
You did a short called A Call to the Post.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. That about 15 years ago, I think.
Yeah, that
maybe
was...
a little bit longer.
Yeah, that was 2009, yeah.
Yeah. So a little bit more than that. And that was fun and interesting, and it was short, but the director was wonderful, and just the whole process of doing that was great. I really don't have any nightmares.
Well, that's good. It's good not to have nightmares,
Yeah. And, I always tell young actors who are moving to Los Angeles or moving to New York, always have a positive outlook, and go be a page at NBC, either in Los Angeles or New York, because you'll get an education on what it looks like behind the scenes. And some of the people that I worked with are still working at NBC, but technically, they found other jobs. They've become directors, producers, weather people, newscasters, because you can find your niche if acting isn't going to be the thing, then you can find something else and still be in the business.
I think a lot of acting classes now are teaching a lot of that stuff, about how to be camera ready and the business side and all of that stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I actually went back to school because I didn't finish at CalArts. So I just graduated 2 weeks ago. And
congratulations.
And thank you. And the acting classes that I took at this university, it was really interesting because they knew my background and they knew that I'm in the unions and I've worked on stage, screen, commercials, voiceovers, and so they didn't feel intimidated, I don't think, but it's some of the books that I would read, names of people that I worked with or that taught me at CalArts or directed me were in some of these books, and and I would read what in the textbook, but then have flashbacks of being at a 10 a.m. rehearsal and having a flashback of this director saying XYZ or laughing or telling a joke or just being, a human being. And so it was interesting going back to school and being able to show out my knowledge of things to these young actors. It was fun.
That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, it's never too late to learn.
Oh gosh, no. I've even recruited at least 10 other people who are non-traditional students to come back to school. So I'm a big believer in as an actor, you have to continue your education, either voice classes, acting classes, movement classes. You have to, because our body is our temple, as a lot of people say, and you have to keep that it's what sells us out in the world. So
right,
keep your mind sharp, keep your body sharp. So
when you were doing Ted, was there a teddy bear on set for a model during that?
Something? Again, that was so fun. It really was fun. Seth MacFarlane had a teddy bear that he held over to one side, and he would say his lines. But I was actually talking to a tennis ball.
Oh, yeah.
But he was on the set, and he was wonderful. And at the time, my kids were little, and I said, so this is not the kind of movie my kids should see. Yeah. And he said, oh, no, definitely not, unless you want them to have therapy for the next 30 years. So, and they treated me like family. They really did. Any of the parties that they had, I didn't have a large role in it, but I still had a residual, so I'm happy about that. But they treated me like there was no one that was stuck up. Not at all. And he hired friends. They were all friends. And so that's how I felt while working on it and socializing afterwards. And during. I became a friend. They were friendly and not jerks.
Yeah, I mean it's a memorable character. She's kind of a lesbian the way she says she's cute.
Right.
and he says I'd like to give her a dirty fuzzy.
Right.
Was your dad still alive when the movie came out?
Oh yeah.
Well, he probably didn't approve of it because he's so religious, right?
No. My father was a fantastic priest.
Oh.
The most unpriestly priest, if you can imagine. I mean, he laughed, he danced, he told jokes.
Mm-hmm.
He was wonderful. Religious, but still didn't put up with a lot of crap from people. When I was 16, I had gone to a religious high school, a Lutheran high school, and my religious teacher was also kind of like my dad. And so when I was 16 and it was Christmas Eve and we were supposed to go to midnight mass, I looked up at my dad because he came into my room and he said, "Lydia, why aren't you dressed? It's time to go to midnight mass." I said, "You know what? There are a bunch of hypocrites in your church.
Yeah.
And I don't want to be surrounded by hypocrites, so I'm not going." He said, Okay. And that was my dad.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's good.
Yeah. No. He was a fabulous, fabulous priest. And to this day, I still get emails. He's been gone now for like 19 years. And to this day, I get emails from people or DMs from people talking about my father. There are a couple of parish houses dotted around the country that have, his name mounted on the parish house as this is Hannibal Hall. Or, he was beloved by so many people.
That's wonderful. Yeah, it's wonderful when people leave a legacy like that. I saw Ted 2 in the theater, and I was hoping that they would bring you back. But
no,
but
he had moved on from the grocery store.
But I did see Dennis Haysbert, who my mom grew up with, in it. So
good.
He played a doctor.
Is your mom from the East Coast?
San Mateo.
Oh, wow.
San Mateo, California. Yeah, she knew Dennis from kindergarten all the way through high school, and they still talk to this day.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's wonderful.
They don't talk every day, but they still talk, at least once or twice a year, which is is a gift. Now, you mentioned the proposal. Like, who did you play in it?
I was the security guard, and I could tell you exactly when I was cut. At the very beginning of the film, Ryan Reynolds is rushing around trying to get her drink, her coffee, and he knows he has to get there before she does. And she shows up at the place of work, and she's at the elevator, and I'm there, and I had a scene with her because she was watching this guy who was also cut. She was watching this guy, this handsome guy, coming down, and because she's so lonely, she was longing after this guy. And my scene was with her talking about her looking at this guy. And so that was the scene. And it was cut. And then I was supposed to come back with when Ryan Reynolds came in. And that was also cut. Because that whole thing, it didn't make sense. The scene didn't make sense.
Yeah. Now, we know how inaccurate IMDb can be. Are there any others that you were maybe cut from that they don't mention, or just stuff that hasn't been mentioned?
I think there's stuff that hasn't been mentioned, but I'm trying to... I'm telling you, I do these things and then they go out of my head.
Yeah. Like you did a short called All That Love Will Be Carried Away. Were you like the lead in that?
Yes. and again. Sorry, but I did it, and it's gone. Oh, no! I was not the lead in that.
Okay.
I was a hooker in
Okay.
that. Yeah, I was a hooker in that. It was fun, but
it's fun playing a hooker.
It was a
I
one
heard.
and done.
Yeah.
What's that?
It's fun playing a hooker. I heard.
Well, I had never played one before, and the director was, he was really concerned that I was going. Thought I he thought I would be upset. And I said, no, it's a job. It's as long as I don't get typecast as a hooker, yeah, I'm fine with it. So I think in Homeboy, I could have been looked at as someone who might have been a hooker. Mm-hmm. And maybe that's why Mickey Rourke did what he did. Anyway.
I have to say, when you were in Scrubs on a Renegade, you looked really good.
Oh, good.
Yeah. Had that.
I think I have.
You had that authentic look to you of like, yeah, I've been working 10 hours.
Yeah. No, that was fun. That was fun. I'm trying to think of anything else that I did.
Well, it's okay. I have other questions regarding other stuff. So.
Okay, go ahead.
Well, when I was listening to you on the Leading Man podcast, you mentioned that you knew Jim Henson.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
I've talked to like 5 of his puppeteers, mainly from Canada, because they have less ego than the American ones. And they tell me what a visionary he was, which is obvious when you look at his work. And he really inspired them when they left his company and started their own and stuff. And like creatively, he's with them every day. Which I think is powerful.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
How I met him in New York, the Actors Fund of America mm-hmm. has wonderful jobs for actors to do in between acting work, mm-hmm. and so they sent me on this job to the Henson Company because I also paint. And so they sent me to the art department. I interviewed, and they said, okay, you're hired. So I was hired to paint Miss Piggy. And so I started painting Miss Piggies.
Yeah.
And then I started dating one of his sons, who is now deceased.
Oh, yeah.
And so that's how I got to meet him, because his son would take me to their home. They had a townhouse or a brownstone, and his parents were divorced, but they were still very close. Mm-hmm. So I got to meet his mom and Jim Henson, and they were lovely, lovely, lovely people. I almost quit acting to continue to work for him, because it was a wonderful experience working there. People were happy. They were happy to go to work. I was taken to, maybe what you might like to do is become a puppeteer. And so I went to that workshop, and, where they have rehearsals and make the puppets, and part of me at that time said, no, I'm an actor. That's all I want to do is just act. And then some people liked some of the ideas because I've always fancied myself as a playwright or a screenwriter. Mm-hmm. And so I would come up with some ideas, and maybe you might be interested in going into this department where they, pop around ideas. I went, nah, I'm still an actor. And then I got an audition for Joe Turner's Come and Gone. That was like the first touring show from Broadway.
Yeah.
And working with with the production team, Kenny Leon and August was there, and a wonderful director, Eileen Knight, I believe her name is. And so I took that and left the company. But in between, when I would come back to New York, I would always go back and maybe work for a couple of days or something. And they always took me back. And it was wonderful. It was wonderful.
Yeah. Did you know Gates McFadden?
The name is familiar.
She became an actress. She played Dr. Crusher on Star Trek The Next Generation, but she started out as a puppeteer for Jim.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, no. I actually worked in the office and not in where they worked. So, and when he would have meetings with other, like I think he had a meeting with Disney, and and everybody had to be on their P's and Q's. And but after his meetings, there was a banister, and he would take off his tie, throw it up in the air, and come down the banister.
Mm-hmm.
And then it would be a party.
Wow.
It was wonderful. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, wow. I heard, I don't know if you ever heard this, I heard that Big Bird was actually the name of his marijuana bong, and then he decided to name the character Big Bird after that.
It wouldn't surprise me. It really wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah.
It wouldn't surprise me. One of my friends who I went to ACT with,
Mm-hmm.
is a puppeteer now. And there's an offshoot. It's still with the Henson Company, but it's an offshoot for adults to see. And it's called Puppet Up, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And she has a blast doing that. Yeah. One of the things that I did go back to school for was not acting. I did take acting classes, but I went back to become to study directing and playwriting.
Uh-huh.
And as I said, I had always had it, playwriting or screenwriting in me, and so that's one of the things that I went back to learn, and I'm glad I did. And I've been directing for a number of years, so I just wanted, because I've worked with really good directors, I just wanted to know that I knew what I was talking about when I would direct someone, instead of kind of guessing and saying, oh, well, so-and-so did this, so I think I'll do that. So now I know what to do.
Yeah. How long have you been playwriting for now?
Well, off and on for years, because I've always had ideas, but I didn't know the tools, the technical thing of doing it. I just did it. So off and on for maybe about 10 years, but knowing what to do for the past 3 years. So, and I have some plays that I'm going to have play readings of this year. And hopefully have some theater, because I know theaters around who have play reading series. So I will hope to have a couple of my plays being read professionally soon. So,
do you enjoy playwriting and directing more than actually acting?
No, I love it all, really, because they're different. They pull out different sides of me. As a director, I have to understand everything. The actors, um, the characters, their wants, the super objectives. I have to know everything, and then also visually how it's going to look. I have to know that. What I want and how I want to paint the picture for the audience. So, so that's what I like about directing. Playwriting, I like to be able to create these characters that are in my head and put them down on paper and create the story and see how that goes. And it's really interesting to see your play being acted, seeing the words coming out of human beings' mouths. It's really exciting for me to see that. And then as an actor, I really enjoy getting a script, analyzing the character, who is this person, and making that person that I'm reading in black letters become a three-dimensional person that lives for 90 minutes. And then I put them to sleep until the next day.
Have you ever taught acting, or would you ever teach acting?
Oh, yeah, I've taught acting. Yeah. And I think I will always continue to teach acting as well.
Because you sound you're very articulate the way you speak, the way you speak. It's almost poetic, like you're teaching you're teaching like a class of people, you know.
Yeah, I enjoy doing that. I really do. And it was fun going back to school and sharing what I learned from really great actors like Ray Burke, and a whole range of actors that I met at ACT, and in my other walks, at other theaters, and teaching what I learned from them to other people who are just coming up. It's exciting to watch them grow, and I learned from them as well. So,
yeah, you met Cary Grant backstage once.
Oh yeah. I was doing A Raisin in the Sun. Is just about the only play that I can think of where I've played every female character. I'm just getting into the mama phase now.
Yeah.
But I've played Beneatha many times and Ruth many times. And also in the musical Raisin, I've played Ruth. And so I was in a production of A Raisin in the Sun, and it was at the McCarter Theater. And our day off was on a Monday, and my dressing room was right off of the stage. And so I had to I was told by the stage manager that I had to clear out the dressing room because there was going to be a show that night, like some kind of performance. So I said, oh, okay, no problem. So after lunch, I went to the theater, and I went to the stage, through the stage door and into my dressing room, and sitting at my table was Cary Grant. And my mouth just dropped. He was gorgeous at his age. Gorgeous. I mean, absolutely dropped dead. Gorgeous. I'm thinking about it now. I'm going, oh my God. Oh my God, you're gorgeous. And he said, oh, is this yours? And I said, yeah. And, I've met a lot of people in my day, but this was Cary Grant.
Yeah.
and my mouth was open, and I didn't know what to say, but he was a dear, and he kind of stood up and let me get my things, and we chatted for a minute. I can't even remember what we chatted about because I was just dumbstruck.
Yeah. I'll have you know, he was the first male movie star that I had a crush on.
Really?
Yeah, my mom had a paperback book about the life of Cary Grant that had all these pictures in it, and I used to just go through it all the time.
Mm-hmm. Oh gosh, yeah. Well, I can see why he did,
Yeah.
because I mean, how old was? It wasn't too much longer after that he died. So,
Yes.
so how old was he when he died?
He was 82. He died in 1986.
Okay, yeah, yeah. That was yeah. I mean, it was like I met him, he died. So, he no, even then he was absolutely stunning.
Yeah, the Philadelphia Story is one of my favorite movies of all time. I watched it this past Thanksgiving, and yeah, every time I watch it, I just love it more and more. It holds up.
Oh yeah, hmm yeah,
And you love ghost stories.
I do, I do. Actually, my plays have a little hint
Hmm.
to to horror. I think I like that. Um, they're political and horror. So I no, I do, I do. I love watching ghosts, all those ghost shows.
Hmm.
I've had incidents happen to me,
Same here.
um, and, and so I just love it. I really do.
After I had my car crash 8 years ago, I had a couple of very surreal supernatural experiences that I ever had before, and I've had them throughout my life. Um, I remember, I do stand up comedy, or I used to, and I went to the comedy store, and I felt like I was in the presence of dead comedians when I was in the original room, and
Wow.
I thought I saw some smoky debris coming from the neon light that's inside the club, and I just had this feeling it was like The Shining, like I've always been here. It was very strange, but
Wow.
I felt comfortable. I wasn't uncomfortable.
Which club was that?
The comedy store in West Hollywood.
But isn't that haunted?
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah. No. That's a haunted spot.
It was a mafia owned club called Ciro's back in the day, and allegedly, it's never been confirmed, but allegedly they would kill guys and like bury them in the walls there.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Yeah, I worked at one place on Sunset Strip.
The
Um,
Improv? Was it the Improv, right? Across from Paramount Pictures?
I there were shows there. There were. It could have been.
Uh,
I only worked there for a few days,
okay.
and I'll tell you why. They wanted me to wear really, really, really short shorts
Hmm.
and a skimpy top,
Right.
and there was this table full of guys, and they gave me a few. After giving them drinks, they left a tip of maybe $300 and wanted me to come back so I could get more.
Uh huh.
And I just left after that. I just, no.
Yeah.
And I never went back. And I'm trying to remember the name of the place, but
Yeah, because there was there's the Improv over there on Fairfax, and then there's the comedy. The Laugh Factory.
was it the Laugh Factory?
That was right next to Greenblatt's.
Is the Rainbow Room
Oh,
there?
the Rainbow Bar and Grill. Yeah.
Maybe it was there. Maybe.
Yeah,
I don't know. That seems larger.
It's there on Sunset. The Rainbow. I love their pizza.
Oh. Well, I think in the 70s it was quite crazy.
It was brand new, yeah, and all the heavy metal guys would hang out there. It was really crazy in the '80s when the hair metal scene was really big. Yeah, it's funny when I was I don't know, a kid. My grandmother told me that when she died, she was going to come back and tickle my toes.
Uh-huh.
And there'll be nights when my feet will be outside of my sheets and I feel a draft. And I swear, I think that's my nana tickling my toes. I mean, I'm not laughing, but of course, I feel a draft. That's like, I think that might be her.
Right. Well, I'll tell you one story. When I was a kid, my parents lived in this house. Mm-hmm. I didn't like the house very much. It was like a railroad style house, mm-hmm. where all the rooms were off of a hallway. And every night around 12 midnight, I'd be in bed, and my room was all the way in the front. I'd sit up in my bed, and my heart would start pounding, and I'd start breathing heavily. And I'd have to get out of that room. And so I'd run into my baby brother's room, and he was also sitting up in his bed, almost in tears. And so we'd run past our other brothers' rooms because they weren't in their room, and we'd go to our parents' room, mm-hmm. which was all the way in the back of the house. And my brothers, my two older brothers, would be in my parents' room sleeping on the floor. This happened every night for about a month. Then one night, my older brother was going on college tours. My other brother was at a basketball game and then a party afterwards and then a sleepover someplace else. And my youngest brother was at a sleepover at my aunt and uncle's house with my cousins. And so it was just me in the house in the front and my parents in the back. And 12 o'clock came. I jumped up and, I left out something. My father kept saying, "You kids cannot be in our bedroom any longer. Don't come into our bedroom." So anyway, the next month, my brothers are away, and so I'm in the front. My parents were in the back. 12 o'clock comes. I jump up, and I run into my brother's room. Oh, God, he's not here. My other brothers aren't there. So I go right to my parents' room, mm-hmm. and the door's shut. And I remember my father saying, "Don't come in our bedroom." So I said, okay. And so I'm still scared. And so I go into the den, which is all the way in the back of the house. And I'm sitting there. It's 12. And back in the day, at 12 o'clock, the television would go to that screen, that screen. And so I said, well, at least the light will be on. I won't turn the lights on. My father won't come out and yell at me, blah, 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 blah. So I turned on the TV. It's a screen. It's a sound. And I look to my right, and I see what I think is my mother walking down the hallway. And I start saying to her, "Mom, I'm so sorry, but I was scared, and I was scared, Mom. I'm sorry. Can I sleep in your room, please?" And she didn't say anything. She just kept walking towards me. And she walked behind the couch where I was sitting on, and I said, "Mom?" And she turned the corner and went down into the basement. And I'm still saying, Mom, why are you mad? Mom. And I'm following her, and I get to the top of the stairs. I still see this glow of a woman walking down the stairs. And I don't turn the light on for some reason. I'm just following my mom. I get down to the bottom of the stairs. I turn up the lights on the bottom of the stairs, and she's not there.
Wow.
I ran back upstairs into her room. My mom is sleeping soundly in the bed. And my father wakes up and says, "What are you doing here?" I said, "I just saw someone. I thought it was Mom." And I think he must have seen this person as well. And he said, "That's okay. Come on, stay here."
Yeah, it's funny
So that's
how
one of my ghosts.
it's funny how the paranormal can just play tricks on you like that.
Yeah. And luckily, our house, that I think we were in that house because my house where I grew up was being renovated. And so I'm glad we left that house and went back to the other house because that was a scary house. It was horrible.
Yeah, my grandfather, after he died when I was 3, we had 2 refrigerators, one in the kitchen and one in our garage. And that one, it was one of those refrigerators that would rust and then it would start making noises. The noise that it made sounded just like my grandfather grunting. It was like, ah, 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 ah. It was creepy.
Yeah. Yeah, and where I live now, in the town that I live in now, we bought another house, and my kids were little, and they would say that there was a monster in the other room, and I don't smoke, my husband doesn't smoke, but we would smell cigarette smoke going throughout our house, even during the winter when the windows were shut. And so, and also in September, every September that we lived there, on a certain day, for a couple of days, it would smell like rotting flesh.
Ooh.
And so one night, I walked down into our kitchen and I looked and I saw this young man in Civil War.
Yeah.
Like Confederate clothing, smoking a cigarette, and then disappear.
Wow. Crazy.
Yeah.
So real quick, we gotta play my secret silly game. This is a series of silly slumber party questions. No win or lose, it's just pure fun. And how the game works is, Lydia, I ask you the question, you answer it, then you ask me that exact same question, and I answer it. And feel free to comment on the answers because they might be funny.
Okay.
Lydia, are you ticklish?
Yes, I am ticklish. Are you ticklish, Tommy?
Yes, I'm baby ticklish.
Oh.
I'm an easy tickle, but you gotta warn me, otherwise I'll hit you in the groin out of reflex. Is your belly button an innie or an outie?
It's an innie.
Nice.
Tommy, is your belly button an innie or an outie?
It is also an innie.
Okay.
What color?
I guess our doc.
Yeah. What color are your toenails painted?
Right now, nothing, because I just finished doing one of those foot things that soften your feet, and I was going to paint them gold.
Nice.
Tell me.
Uh-huh.
What color are your toenails painted?
They are red, green, and white for Christmas.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
I like that.
They look very, very festive and shiny.
Well, mine are gold because I like gold ribbon around my tree. And so that's why my toenails are going to be gold. Sparkly gold.
Love it. What would you say is your best personality trait?
Um, I like to laugh,
Mm-hmm.
and also I'm a connector. I like connecting people.
Oh,
Uh, what is your best personality trait?
well, I am also a connector. I have connected a lot of people, a lot of actors who lost touch years ago. That's one good
Uh-huh.
thing about me. But being a Gemini, I have empathy and I have no filter.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
I'm a Scorpio, but I'm a stealth Scorpio.
Oh, Scorpios are dangerous. They are moody, horny, manipulative sometimes, and depending on who the Scorpio is, and grudge holding.
Well, I believe some of that about myself, but
Yeah.
that's why I'm a stealth Scorpio,
Uh huh.
because I don't come off as a Scorpio, but when I do, oh my God, it's
Yeah.
not pretty.
Yeah.
It is not pretty at all.
And then my favorite question is: there a stinky smell that just makes you gag? What?
Yes. um, this is gross, but
Okay. I like gross.
any belly button hole lint.
Oh. Yeah. I mean, you probably know it from your own. You wouldn't want to smell other people's.
And what is your smell that makes you gag?
Either farts or feet.
I was going to say feet as well,
Mm-hmm.
but then I remembered the any belly button lint. So
I have a couple jokes for you.
okay.
Actors love jokes, I have noticed. um, why did Frosty, the Christmas jokes, why did Frosty have a smile on his face?
I don't know. Why did Frosty have a smile on his face?
He saw the snowblower.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
I used to do prop handling backstage for theater, and we used to hear the same songs over and over again, in rehearsal and performance. And so me and the other prop handler would just tell jokes like this just to break up the monotony, and
Oh my gosh.
so we wouldn't be bored. And sometimes, I'd go into the actors' dressing room, and the announcement would be made, "Hey, Tommy's got jokes for us," and I would tell it to them. And it would be complete pandemonium, I'll tell you, because they love dirty jokes.
That is true. One of the things that I would love on sets is seeing these old time actors. Well, one, they were complaining about just sitting around doing nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm thinking, wait, you're getting paid time and a half for sitting around doing nothing, playing cards. Stop. And, but they would tell these raunchy jokes, raunchy.
Yeah.
I just wanted to say, one of my in-between jobs that I got through the Actors Fund of America in New York was working on props.
Oh yeah.
And I worked at the Promenade Theater, and then also at the Michael Bennett Studios on the play Curse of a Starving Class by Sam Shepard, who was also around then. So that was good meeting him. But I had to get a sheep from Central Park.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know New York City?
I have never been there, but I know a lot of the historical places. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, Central Park has like where they house the horses for the police.
Oh, they're like stagecoaches.
Yeah. stables. They're stables.
Right.
And this sheep, this lamb, that I had to get and take it down to Michael Bennett Studios, which is on 18th Street. So I have to walk from the Upper West Side to 18th Street with this sheep, with this lamb. And the baby, it was a baby lamb. Mm-hmm. But after the show at night, I had to come back around 12 o'clock, 12:30. And during the winter, I didn't want to do that. And it was also walking with this guy who was trans, and we would get picked up by taxi cabs, and I had a great big bag, and I'd put the lamb in, and we'd talk. My partner and I would talk, so if the lamb made any bleeping noise, then the taxi driver wouldn't be able to hear. And I remember one night, this lamb became a sheep overnight. I mean, it just became huge. And it stuck its head out of my bag and made whatever noise they make. And the taxi driver stopped short and kicked us out, and we had to walk back in a blizzard with this lamb that became a sheep overnight. And I was just telling it because that's one of the things that I had to do for props. This lamb was a prop.
Yeah.
In the show.
Don't work with animals and don't work with children, they say.
Yeah. So,
here's a better joke. What did the elephant say to the naked man?
I don't know. What did the elephant say to the naked man?
Man, how can you breathe through that thing?
Oh, I think I've heard that one before.
That's an old joke.
Yeah, I think I've heard that one before. Wow, that's just crazy.
Lydia, thank you so much for coming on today. I hope you had fun.
I did. I had a lot of fun. Thank you. Thank you so much. And I hope I didn't sound too nasally, but I am trying to not fall apart before Christmas or the New Year, but it's hard. This cold is on its way.
Yeah, no, you sounded beautiful, and you are beautiful, and I'm so glad you've gone back to school, and I hope the next theater project or even film project you do is a good one, and I'll be keeping my eye out for it.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you.
Merry Christmas,
and,
Happy New Year, and be safe.
Thank you. You as well. You as well. Have a great 2024, and hopefully we won't have to leave the country.
Hopefully, yes. Let's keep our fingers and toes crossed on that. Let's have a happy, healthy 2024.
Yes. Okay. Take care.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Well, there you have it. Lydia Hannibal. Ain't she a sweetheart? Oh, my God. I love her energy and her sense of humor. She was so fun. What a lot of history there, huh? That was a great conversation. It was better than I thought it was going to be, and I'm glad we got to talk today. Well, until next time, this is Tommy Throwback Kovac saying, there's no shame in living in the past, because the present sucks. Later, dudes!